Hey everybody, welcome to Amigos. I'm John.
And I'm Aaron.
And today we're going to be talking about Overkill.
Yeah. It's just Overkill. Now someone out there knows Men at Work.
I'm sure
I think
people
that's
do.
who sang it. Yeah.
Aaron, we got some feedback
Yeah.
from last week. You know, we're always on people. We always ask them politely to leave us iTunes reviews. And we never mention if they would leave us positive ones or not.
Oh,
and so,
no.
I'm just kidding. This one is positive too. I was on edge a little bit. So this one is titled "A Diamond in the Rough," and it's by SimonRoseFX.com from New Zealand.
Our favorite spy.
He says, "Amigos, a podcast you won't regret listening to. If you made it here thus far, then you are almost in Amiga paradise, kind of like soft rock paradise, your favorite radio station." A charming show hosted by a couple of good old boys, passionate about the not-so-often talked-about Commodore Amiga. The fine structure to the show starts with news from the world of vintage computing and retro gaming. The majority of the show is dedicated to a game they task themselves to play that week. I recommend playing along. You will discover many gaming delights and sometimes turkeys within an atmosphere of their wit, great humor, and much mirth. A jovial couple, who I might add, light up many of their listeners' every week with a fresh and original presentation. Thank you, Amigos. May you continue.
Beautiful, man.
Thank you, SimonRoseFX.com.
You consider yourself a good old boy? Because you don't
I never
strike
mean
me
any
as
harm.
Get it out. Keep going. Jeez.
So that concludes the feedback for this week.
Thank you, Simon.
So Aaron, do we have any? What's on the gamble train?
It's a Gambletron boat.
It's rolling in the station, baby.
Oh, man. Listen, we had an interesting... It wasn't the biggest week of Amigo news. We got a few things here.
Do you want to tell... before we start, should we talk about the biggest news about our news platform? Perhaps an upcoming change?
Oh, yeah. That's a good point. So, man, I don't really need the Gambletron for this one. Bad news, folks. For the 334 of you or so that follow, Google, in their infinite wisdom, have decided to cut Google+. Now, don't panic. This change won't happen until next August. Right?
Oh, so we've got a long...
That's right.
Okay.
However, this greatly and grossly affects yours truly, because that's how I do my notes. But, men much smarter than myself... have tasked themselves to build a better mousetrap, to come up with some kind of gimmick to that will be better than Google Plus to accommodate me and Boat, and I believe they'll do it. What do you think?
I think so, because I've already seen the prototype in action, and it is great.
And this is something, can you give us a little insight to this?
Yeah, so we are going to actually make a new section of everythingamiga.com dedicated to the show notes, the news of the week for the Amigas. And what the best part about it is it's going to operate just like Google+, where you'll actually be able to post your own links and stories that you want us to cover on the show, all without creating any new kind of account. We won't make you register for anything. It's basically like sending an email to an email address. You're going to send it, and like I said, it'll automatically post to the news page, and we'll be able to read it on the show. So I'm excited about this for a couple of reasons. One, this is something that's guaranteed not to go away because we'll control it. And two, it'll also be searchable. So, when people are searching for various stories, our site will pop up and it will bring more attention to everythingamiga.com.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
And I trust the brain trust.
Absolutely.
These are geniuses.
They're
men
on
of honor, men of valor, people that know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah.
And again, then there's us. I don't know what the hell we're doing.
We're bringing up the rear, that's for sure.
Yes, we are. So anyway, thanks, Brain Trust, and to be continued in the future. But
watch this space.
For now, we're using Google+. We'll probably use it right up to the wire, or maybe use both. And just to highlight the community participation, as you know, last week we were gifted with some lovely snooker mags, and one of our very loyal listeners, Daniel Cordell, put up some snooker-related tunes in the channel. So if you want to hear those crazy things,
if you remember the timeless classics like Matchroom Mob with Chaz and Dave, you can relive them on our Google Plus page.
I will say Daniel, far and away our most prolific YouTube poster
Absolutely.
and responder.
Absolutely.
Never met a comment he didn't like, and he's all over it. Here's one. Another submission from Andy Davis. I heard a lot from Andy this week, and Andy has posted up a little link here, which we've mentioned this guy a couple times. The 10-minute Amiga retrocast, not Amiga. And this real nice guy. I think he's popped in the
he's popped in the chat
a few times. Knowledgeable, you betcha. So I recommend his stuff. Very good.
Yeah, another great Amiga. He sort of forms the holy trinity of American-based. No, because there are only two of us. Lefarius is not American, is he?
He's an honorary American.
The honorary American. The Holy Trinity. You got Amiga-rama, 10-minute Amiga Retrocast, and us in the back.
Yes. So while we're talking about Andy Davis, I like saying that. And I saw this a couple places. This is Commodore related. C64 software library is up on archive.org. Have you had a go at this, Boat?
Yes, I have.
You want to talk about it?
Yeah, so basically this is the Internet Archive is they're doing the Lord's work.
Yes,
they are archiving everything. Copyright be damned. They've got it on here, and you can actually go into the 64 library. They've done this with the Apple. I believe there's even a very limited Amiga stuff on here too, just in terms of what can be emulated.
I think they announced some Amiga stuff. I remember last year was a big deal, and it didn't work that good.
Yeah,
it's sort of
it's a little bit too advanced for what they can do so far in the browser. But you can click on any one of these games, and you can actually play it in the browser. You just click on this thing right here, and it will download some stuff. And before you know it, you're playing Burger Time for the C64 in your browser. So it's super, super awesome.
Now, just to keep us honest, and I always think of our good buddy Laurent Giroux, he always keeps me honest on this stuff. Some of these fellows are probably still could still make a buck or two on this stuff. So this is the gray area of emulation, which I never talk about that anymore. It used to be every time.
You used to mention gray area.
I need to get it back in there. But
this whole show is a gray area.
Laurent especially he's like my conscience. I can always hear him in the back of my head. No,
in that French accent. No, Aaron. No.
Well, but I like that. Listen. I can understand that, especially when you're a guy that works in a business or whatever. So use this at your own discretion.
Absolutely.
So keeping it going. Our good buddy, the Pixels at Dawn. Now this one I saw pop up, and I was like, this is interesting. Indie Retro News reports that the first ever commercial Amiga game has been found and released.
Which is hilarious that it's a Donkey Kong clone.
It's a Donkey Kong clone. This is even more gray. And it looks... Wow, we're looking at it here. It's a man, and it looks like a man in a business suit being chased by dogs.
Yep, and there's
a huge fat man in green pants that is the Donkey Kong.
Looks like he's wielding some knitting needles. It's
wonder what is in the spray can to get rid of the dogs. Anti-dog spray. So anyway, if you want to get a good laugh, and it doesn't look that bad.
It doesn't look that great.
It doesn't look okay. Fine, but monkey business. So. Keeping the ball rolling, Boat. Our good friend, the Duncan Styles, has written up a review this week on everythingamiga.com about the Power. The Power. Now, this is a puzzle game. Have you ever played this one, Boat?
No. And in fact, I'm having trouble finding this article.
You just passed it. Go down, bam. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a write-up. Believe it or not, I think back in the day, I actually had this game.
Really?
I would look through my disc collection, but the disc collection has been liquidated, and so I think I had this somewhere.
So this looks sort of like is it like a puzzle, sort of like a load runner kind of thing?
It's been so long since I played it, I could not tell you.
Okay.
But I recognized it from the intro screen of all things. Of course, it's a good lengthy review too. So. Pop over to everythingamiga.com and check this out.
I'm glad that Duncan is posting some of these texts. Sometimes, I watch a lot of videos on YouTube. Sometimes I just want to read words because I can read sometimes faster than I can watch. And I hope that he continues to write these things up.
And he's great. There's also that.
Yeah. And I mean, we're a multimedia site. It's not video, it's not audio, it's not text. It's everything. Yeah. Everything all the time.
And we, I mean, listen, I'm not going to toot our horn, but we got some of the best guys around doing. I mean, we don't have them doing it. They do it because they want to, and they do great stuff.
Yeah, we are so incredibly lucky to have the team, the editorial team over at
And
Amigos.
Speaking of the devil, now this one, Bo, I watched the whole thing. So, Dreamcatcher, you know what I'm talking about.
The original Everything Amiga beat writer.
So, Dreamcatcher decided to look at this at a game, which I actually had this game. I think it's called Crime Wave.
Different than Crime Lords, right?
And what it is
Crime
is a very glorified Narc ripoff.
Holy cow, that guy's got a...
Yeah.
Yeah.
You ever played Narc?
I did. It used to be at the skater rink.
Yeah. So, what would you put with a Narc ripoff game as opposed to going into detail? I think this is a work in progress, but what he put in here was just a crap load of Pink Floyd. And I don't mean mainstream Pink Floyd either, brother.
Deep cuts.
His deep cuts. Access Software, by the way, who made this, did Leaderboard Golf.
Really?
Yeah. In fact, this used some of the technology from that.
I
believe he's looking at the PC version of this.
Is there a voice synthesis module in here? Is there a he hit the tree gem?
There is voice, as I recall. So it's garbage. It's real bad. And of course, there you go. Some lovely cuts of Pink Floyd. So Dreamcatcher up to his wacky antics yet again. So, I believe since we went to since we cut the last show, we've released two, count them two, Amigathon videos.
Okay.
Do you want to talk about those?
No, because I don't know which one you're talking about.
Well, we've got 10 and 11.
Okay, I wanted to make sure I started on the right one. So 10. This was a very memorable episode because we played UFO Enemy Unknown, which is my first go-round with any of the XCOM titles. And
that's hard to believe, Bo.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
This is the sort of thing that you think I would have played. I remember being on edge during this part of it, and I don't know why. I talked about it a little bit on the Discord. I just had this sinking feeling that something was going to go wrong. Luckily, nothing did. We were able to...
We had trouble running it.
Yeah, I think that probably contributed to the
we had a heck of a time
unease.
Getting it to work.
Yeah, but when we did get it to work, we managed to track the UFO, shoot it down, and assault it.
Yeah,
and so
I had a good time playing this. Actually, I mean, for what it was, wacky, but it was fun.
And so so that's
all we played that hour.
That whole hour.
Look at those lounging bums. We're lounging and eating pizza for charity, man.
Living the life.
Now, do you recall what we did in hour 11?
Oh,
it got wacky in hour 11, Bo.
Well, I
can tell you what we did. We played one round of wrestling. We also had a go at Stunt Car Racer. And then we capped it off with one of the goofiest games ever.
Is this the Mortal Pong?
Micro Mortal Tennis.
Oh, yeah.
This is one weird game, Bo. I don't remember who suggested this, but what a weird game that was. With the devil involved. What are your memories of this hour?
I liked this hour a lot because I liked all three games. Who doesn't like Micro League Wrestling? Probably the most accurate.
Almost everyone.
Probably the most accurate wrestling simulation available on the platform.
Oh, yeah.
Then, of course, Stunt Car Racer, great game. Had a lot of fun with that. And then this game was just so off the wall. The backstory, you wouldn't have had to put... There is like this 10-minute animated cutscene at the beginning of this game. Semi-animated. That lines out, you're this demon and you've got to win this tennis tournament to get the devil his due or whatever. And so... this game, I'm pretty sure this game has cursing in it, I want to say, or something. I don't know. There's weirdness going on. And of course, there's fatalities and all that stuff. And so.
Plus, it was hour 11. We were half out of it, yeah.
So, I highly recommend you, if you have not watched any hours yet of Amigathon, start with hour 11.
Now,
that's when the fun really begins.
When did we start having hours that go away? Do you remember when did that start? Was that hour 16 or 18 or something like that?
It's the last 4 hours.
Okay.
So after hour 20 or so.
So
there's a lot more to come, folks.
Keep in mind, the next hour we put up will be hour 12. It starts getting a little stupid because we're 12 hours in, and I recall it going getting a little sideways real soon. So something worth having a look at. This came out today. There's a new CD32 compilation CD out. The CD32 and Beer multiplayer compilation for October. Our good buddies at Indie Retro News have the scoop. What are the games you got on there?
So I mean,
keep scrolling down to the October part.
You know, they've. It's basically, I guess, at first I thought all of these games had some sort of beer tie-in, but that's not the case. This is just like sit down with your buddies, crack open a few
Look
cool
at these
ones.
games. Read some of those. All the Epic's games.
All the games.
Including, you've also got bar games on there, man.
Look at these. I've never even heard of these. Magic Bites Eskimo games, Western games.
Oh, we're there, dude.
Absolutely.
Bam.
Hey, Amigos Game Selection Committee, you want to pick a game that'll make us happy? Pick Eskimo games.
Or Western games. Either way, how bad could they possibly be?
Absolutely. And Fiendish Freddy's on there, which we took a look at.
Love one of our most popular videos. It's just strange.
Yeah.
I love that game. I love that game a lot. So anyway, yeah. Hey, God bless them. They're doing good work over there. Again, gray area, yada yada disclaimer. Okay. So here's a wacky one, Boat. Now, I'm not familiar with this guy. But apparently there was
Seal?
I'm familiar with him. Why don't you play a little bit of this, Boat?
I'll just sing it.
This was a Pro Tracker version of Crazy by Seal that had been removed but has turned back up. That's all you need to know. It's never been on the internet before.
What's your favorite Seal song?
That one. Crazy.
Yeah. That's what you turn it on. Then you're gone. Yeah, you drive me. That's Seal.
That's not it. No. You're thinking Aerosmith. This one's...
Agree to disagree. I like the first song. Remember his first song? Crossing That Bridge.
I don't.
Lessons. Man, what is the name of that song? I love that song a lot. And of course, who doesn't like the Batman song? Kiss from a Rose.
It's a good song.
Yeah, I love it. Seal.
He's got those weird tribal marks on his face.
Those are Acme stars.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
No, I thought they were tribal.
No, you might be confusing him with Mike Tyson.
Are you just making this up, or are you serious?
Seal.
He's got acne scars.
Yeah, that's what that is.
I thought they were tribal.
Well, they could be tribal acne scars.
Agree to disagree.
If that's not an episode title, I don't know what is.
Man. All right, moving along. Anyway, Seal. Go check that out. Let's see. Do we have any? Oh, here's one, Boat.
How satisfied are we with communities? Google's asking us. Maybe we can save Google Plus by putting this smiley face right there.
We're not satisfied. So this one from our buddy Chris Folds. We love the Folds. New game alert. He's labeled it. Mini Legion. A new Amiga game set for release next week.
Wow.
Next week. Look at that.
That looks nice.
Yeah, it does.
Is this? I wonder if this is like a website. Let's see what we're looking at here.
Mini Legion. And it's coming out next week. How come no one ever heard about this?
Well, I think it's because the developers are. Maybe it's all big in Spain. I want to say.
Is that where it's at? Spain.
Yeah, I think so.
Hey, new game. We're down.
Yeah.
So check into that again. Linked off Indie Retro News.
Mini Legion.
Is that it? Do we have anything else this week?
I think that's it for the news this week.
Do we have any site news? Let me look here.
Just the way groovy ARG presents.
Oh, yes. Yeah, well. Yeah. So this week we did 70s arcade games.
Why are you... Okay, I see.
And we looked at Stunt Cycle and Boot Hill. You ever played either one of those?
I think I've played Gunfight before, which is sort of the Boot Hill sequel.
Yeah, prequel.
But I've thoroughly enjoyed the show because one of my favorite Atari 8-bit games is a game called Biker Dave, which is a clone of Stunt Cycle, which I didn't know. I didn't know where Biker Dave came from, and so it brought back a lot of great memories playing that.
You know, Stunt Cycle. We had a clone on the Coco. Same thing. And I knew I had played it in the arcade. I'm old, but it's a simple but fun game. It really is. I enjoyed it. And again, I picked Boot Hill because it's the first game I ever played. So we had a good time.
Yeah. And next week, what do we got coming up on ARG?
Atari ST. Now, I don't want to spill the beans, but the games we picked are probably not the staple games for the Atari ST.
Well, that's always been the tradition with
Brent's
ART.
game.
You think Urban Letty's leading the charge for the GBA?
Listen, I'm just gonna tune in for some Atari ST. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
It's gonna be a weird one. That's all I got, Bo.
All right. Let's hit it. Overkill.
Overkill. So, this is a very straightforward title. Let's go there. This came out on the Amiga in 92 or 93. I saw 2 different dates.
Mm-hmm.
It was out on the CD32 and the 1200, or the AGA.
AGA title.
I don't know which came first. It's a strange thing. One would assume the AGA version, but I saw dates that the CD32 version came out first. Mm-hmm. Let me take a drink.
You're starting to lose it. Recharge.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm doing the best I can. So, this title came out, and it was developed by an outfit called Vision. Now, do you remember Vision?
They did. Didn't they do one of the pinball games that we covered?
No. But they did do a recent game. They did Cybernetics.
Cybernetics.
Makes sense, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Because this is sort of
another
similar.
ship sort of thing, yeah.
They also did the Dragon's Layers, if you'll recall those. Roadkill. They did Prime Mover, that motorcycle game. And Seek and Destroy. So we've covered some of these. Mm-hmm. You can play 2 players, hot seat. What do you want to go over what this is?
Yeah. This game is a Defender clone.
You don't have to say that right out of the gate. This
game is an entirely unique take on a new shooting experience that's got nothing to do with the game that came out before.
Listen.
This game is a Defender clone that takes some of the most interesting parts of Defender and completely disregards them.
What's that say?
So
those are the notes for Defender.
Yeah.
So I'm just screwing you. Yes, it is.
Yeah. And so, Defender came out about 11 years ago before this game. One of the most famous arcade games of all time, mostly famous for being horrendously difficult.
And having 76 buttons. You have to hit 3 buttons and a pedal to start the game.
Right. I think that I remember reading something about time spent on various arcade games, and I think the average length of a Pac-Man game might have been 3 or 4 minutes. Defender's somewhere in that 45-second category. Much of the time waiting for your ship to respawn after it blows up. So, Defender was designed by Eugene Jarvis, who later went on to do some other things, but I think he's most famous for Defender. I can't think of anything else that he did that was more. He did Robotron too, but I think, was Robotron before then or after then?
It would have been, I think it was after.
Was after, okay.
He also did I think he did one of the Terminator games, the newer ones. He's did some newer gun games. Eugene Jarvis, a legend.
Yeah, he's a legend in the scene for sure. Yeah. So this game takes, it definitely updates the graphics. The graphics in the original game were very sparse. You're flying against a black background. You're flying in this enclosed area. You can almost think about it being like a sphere where it wraps around on itself. In Defender, you have a radar screen at the top of the screen that shows you the location of the enemies. It also shows you when an enemy has picked up one of the citizens and is carrying it away. In this game, you start out and you are immediately struck by this game looking like an early 90s Amiga game. Because they're like, boy, what can we do to make this look like an Amiga game? Let's put in 15 levels of parallax scrolling right off the bat.
That's beautiful looking scrolling.
So you've got that going on. You've got your ship. You're dropped off by a mothership. When you start the game.
A la Hybris.
Right. And you immediately start blowing up bad guys. There's all these aliens that you've got to kill. Now, on the ground, you've got people. Okay, and you're thinking, well, okay, this is going to be like Defender. The enemies are going to pick up these guys, they're going to carry them off, and when they come back, they're going to be mutants. No. For whatever reason, they decided not to do that. They decided to basically make the guys on the bottom a totally useless part of the game.
Incorrect.
No, I'm not done yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
you can use these guys to gain points, because every once in a while, these guys who have the most superhuman jumping ability in the world,
That's true.
they can literally jump hundreds and hundreds of feet in the air up to your ship, and then they'll hang on like the guy like Schwarzenegger hanging on to the chopper, and with the gun and stuff. And you can collect these guys, and the more that you get the fit on the kind of rim of your ship, the higher points you can get.
No. That's incorrect.
Okay, correct me.
Allow me to educate you.
Okay,
sir,
okay.
Because I had to look into this.
Okay. That was the impression I got.
So here's the story.
Okay.
You got to hear the story. This is remember last week's game, Dreamweb? Remember that story?
Yep.
This makes that look like crap. 2690 AD. First of all, that's
far-flung future.
An intense war rages within the Centauri solar systems, with total genocide imminent for both warring factions. You, as captain of the new corps, that's NU.
Of course it is.
The most feared and elite fighting corps in the Federation star system, must lead the attempt to drive a wedge between the two warring factions until the larger fleet can arrive. All right? Blah, blah, blah. This is the story. It's a stupid story. Though at the bottom of the screen, on most screens, there are crystals, okay?
Right.
These are called, let me see, trilithium crystals. Okay, that's what they're called.
Tune in next week for the quad lithium crystals.
So the guys drop out of a ship that comes down on the screen. They're your guys.
They're my guys.
They're down there blowing up these crystals.
Oh, yeah.
Because
okay.
the enemies will take the crystals away.
Right.
Once one of them blows it up, it goes, hey, hey, hey. And it jumps, you get him. And what you're doing is flying him closer to another crystal to blow that up.
Oh,
That's what it is.
Okay. Well,
go ahead.
So you do that, and when you're collecting these crystals, they'll float up into space. If you get them before the enemy does, you get them. You kill the enemies. When you destroy all the enemies on a level, you progress to the next level. Now I'm sure
it just sort of fades out.
Right. Now I'm sure
in a lame way
that there might be some strategy where you don't want to kill all the enemies at once. You want to leave a couple alive so you can mine more crystals on a level. There might be that sort of an angle going on.
But yeah.
But anyway, once the level ends, like you said, it fades out, and you get this top-down map of a solar system. And you have to complete, as far as I'm aware, you have to complete each planet in a particular ring of a solar system before you go on to the next. So it's multiple stages and levels.
It's a pretend way to think you're picking different stages. Every stage in a ring of the solar system identical. I mean, you're not like picking that.
There's not like a water world, a fire world, all within the same level.
In fact, I wrote down the worlds here. So in the first ring that you're in, you've got the blue, like nighttime planetscape. All right. In the second tier, all right, and you have to beat all the first ring of planets first. Then you've got the purple tunnel planets. Remember those? You beat all those, you go to the bombed out city levels.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. These are multiple planets with bombed out cities. Who knows what happened? That's a hell of a war. Then you go to the Shadow of the Beast low end forest planet. Is that what it looked like to you?
Low end, like it doesn't look very nice, like a slapdash effort?
It's the worst ones. Then you go to the sort of desert moon planets. They got mesas and craters.
Okay.
Then you're on the last level, the Death Star.
Yeah,
level.
you're on the ship at that point.
But that you have to defeat everyone in a ring to go on.
Right.
Go ahead.
Now, there are, this game, one thing that it does do better than Defender is it gives you power-ups. They're very sort of R-type or Gradius style power-ups. You get the spread shot, you get the slightly down at an angle and straight shot, sort of like the bomb and
sort
the fire straight ahead.
Of a silkworm.
Yeah. And so that part of it's cool. There's no hyperspace in this game. There is a shield that you can activate. Yeah, by pressing the space bar.
Horrible.
The jury's still out on how exactly you can operate a joystick with the button and press the space bar all simultaneously.
I'll get into that in a minute.
Maybe you could put the keyboard down by your foot and make it like a pedal type thing, which actually isn't a bad idea.
It is if you've got an Amiga 500. It's a real bad idea.
I guess that's probably
or
true.
1200. You're not gonna be you got to be better off putting your seat up on something like another table.
So anyway, that's basically the game in a nutshell. There's not a whole lot to it. As far as what I think of the game didn't really hold my interest. I found that it got difficult, and I didn't want to play it anymore. And so
how far did you get?
I beat probably the first. I want to say that I didn't get to the second ring, but I got maybe to the last ring.
So you didn't even see the ground.
Well, no, because I watched the Let's Play.
Right.
But I mean, I couldn't beat it, and I didn't really feel like trying because I just felt like what I was doing was useless. Like, here's what I love about Defender, and I think part of the reason why I didn't like this game is because I really like Defender a lot, even though it is really hard. I like when the sense of urgency that you get when an alien has picked up a little dude and is carrying him back up, and you see it on the radar, and they're like, "Oh man, I got to go save him!" And then you shoot the alien, and then you swoop in and you pick him up in midair and you deliver him back to the ground.
Right.
That's an awesome feeling. You don't get that at all in this game because that mechanic doesn't exist.
Well, listen.
I'm not done yet.
I'm sorry. I apologize. Keep going.
So then another thing that I don't like about this game is that it's got I don't know, it just looks like such an Amiga game. I mean, like the graphics, it's like it's trying so hard to look cool, and it's just like it just seems so cookie cutter. Like all of the backgrounds, the ship itself, it could have come out of any game. There is nothing unique about any aspect of this game. I'm not saying it looks bad. I'm saying it just looks like every other Amiga game that was coming out at this time. So Defender looked neat. It was very sparse, but the sprites were super, super colorful. It almost had this vector-based quality to it, where everything just seemed to really shine out at you. And again, because this game is a Defender clone, I could do nothing but compare it to Defender. Okay? Another thing that I don't like about this game, before it got hard, it was too easy. Let me explain. Before it gets hard, you don't even need to look at the screen itself. All you need to do is look at the radar. The enemies are so big on the radar, you can just spam the fire button and shoot in the general direction where you see them on the radar and clear levels like that. So in a lot of games, the radar is useless. In this game, I think the radar is almost too helpful.
Yeah, but you didn't get past the first set of planets.
Well, I'm just saying.
It wasn't too helpful. You couldn't clear the first set of planets.
I'm just saying that it was too easy before it got hard.
What does that mean? I'm sorry, carry on.
In closing, the final, and don't even get me started on the ship explosion. If that's not the most Amiga thing you've ever seen in your life, let's make everything explode into tiny, tiny little pieces and watch how much animation we can put on the screen at one time. It's sort of like the programmer's bragging nonsense. So this game could have been a lot better if they'd have changed a couple things. Okay, don't give me the side eye like that.
No, I want to let you get your nickel's worth in.
Number one, 2-player simultaneous multiplayer, split screen. That would have been great. Okay, you can't do.
That would be impossible.
It would not be impossible at all.
You'd have to split the screen in half and split the radar in half.
So the radar, look how much
this
space.
This is an Amiga. Plus, look how little space you would have.
You'd have enough space.
Show me any other system that's ever done that with Defender.
Well,
okay, carry on.
I guess I can't argue with that logic. Number 2, when you die, you have to wait for the screen to fade out. Game over fades in.
Yes.
Game over fades out again. Then the whole deal fades back in. There's probably 15 seconds in between the time that you die and the time you come back.
Let me chime in here, and I'll let you continue. You're right. It was one of my biggest pet peeves about this game. You get killed for whatever reason. The screen flashes.
Kill game. Yep.
Your ship glides to the ground. It explodes in a million pieces. Your guy runs out,
which is cool.
The screen fades to dark. The player 1 comes up. The player 1 fades. The huge ship comes down. The huge ship lets you out. The huge ship goes up. You move to the back of the screen, and then you can do something. Mm-hmm. I timed it. It was over 13 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay? Too long. That's too long to wait.
It's
you want to
unacceptable.
go now.
Yeah. In a one-hit kill game like this, you want to be out and back in immediately.
Yeah.
Shoop, shoop. Again, Defender. All they had to do was copy Defender. It
The
would have
big
been
ship
fine.
should come in once per level.
Yeah.
Not every time.
Right. And I think in Hybris, that's what it does, right?
No. I don't think so. I think it comes back every time.
So, okay, finally, and I mean, this is a gripe I have with a ton of games that we cover on this show. This game opens with a pretty, heavy metal kind of riff-based song, okay?
Yeah.
It's not my favorite. It sort of reminds me of the kind of music you listen to now where all the singers sound like Fozzie Bear, but
it kind of fired me up when it came out. I was excited.
it's probably, it definitely fits the theme of this. This is a death and destruction sort of game, okay? So you're like, man, I'm ready to play. Then you start playing, the music fades out, and you get no more music. Why do they not just leave that track playing in the game and give you an option to turn it off?
I will say this, and I can't confirm this, okay? I looked, the CD32 version of this, Mark Allen Knight is credited on it, okay? It's not credited on the AGA version. I'm going to use logic to assume that there are CD tracks for this game on the CD32 version.
I would not bet on it.
Well, I mean, there is no, unless he wrote that opening tune only on the CD32. I don't know, but that's a guess. Otherwise, you're right.
That's all I have to say. Go for it, man.
You've got some valid points. I'm not going to say to just crush you. It takes too long between man, yes. The shield is absolutely worthless. It is worthless. You click a button, turn the spacebar, turn it on, and the spacebar turn it off. A game this hectic, there's no spacebar. You can't use the spacebar. When I first started playing this on the actual Amiga, I didn't even use it at all. Eventually, when I moved over to the emulator, I mapped the spacebar to a second button. It still sucked. It's worthless. I'd rather had a hyperspace or anything.
Yeah.
Or
a smart bomb. Smart bomb would have been great.
Would have helped. The map where you pick where you're going, worthless. That's a gimmick. It's nothing. That much said, the bit with the men and the diamonds, it's tacked on, but it's okay.
I think it's all right.
It's okay. It's not as good as Defender's element. All right. The graphics are good. You're bad mouthing this thing for having it's an Amiga, man.
I know. But
that's what they do.
There's literally nothing in this that's unique, though.
What do you mean? This has got 4 or 5 screen deep parallax scrolling. It does.
Yeah, but so does every other Amiga game. This is a 12.
No, that's not true.
This is an Amiga 1200 game that could undoubtedly be done on ECS OCS without the shadow.
No way. I'm trying to use my limited voice. I wish it was in full voice.
I'm getting it in on you.
I would love to tear you up here. Wrong. But I can only give you what I've got. The game moves, it scrolls smoothly.
Yes.
It's beautiful. With a few exceptions, it's beautiful. The jungle level sucks. I don't like it. It looks lower res than the rest of the levels, but the rest, it looks good. The sound is okay. The enemies suck. I don't like them. They're generic enemies.
That's what I'm saying, man.
If you're driving a wedge between 2 warring factions, why are they different every level?
Right.
In the end, it's an okay game. I like their other game more. Cybernetics was a more fun game, I thought. You remember that one?
Barely. Actually, refresh my memory. What is Cybernetics?
Sort of asteroidy.
Oh, yeah. Actually, but that wasn't the PD game, was it?
It was.
It was, okay. I like that much more than this game.
The coder on this worked on Gloom. Remember Gloom?
That's the FPS, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, he's got skills. It looks very demo-y. The opening screen, the player selects.
And I think this would have been a great, shareware PD title. This was a commercially released game, though. It probably cost you $40 when it came out.
Yeah, I do.
And to me, there's not enough compelling reason to support anybody buying this at full price. Not that anybody's buying it at full price anymore, but it seems like there's an awful lot of sameness for what it is.
Well,
I mean, you can take out, okay, if you just, like, for example, like the enemies move in slightly different ways. Like you said, there are ground-based attacks in the later levels, but there's really no distinguishing features in the levels other than that, other than just the
well, I mean,
backdrop.
the enemies are different.
Yeah, but they still die the same way. I mean, they still attack you the same. They still kind of float around in their oafish way.
You said this was an Amiga game, and I mocked, but I can't fully kill you, because one thing I've noticed about a lot of Amiga shooters, they have these generic enemies. They don't look like much. They just float around.
And again, it's because look at the size of the team. How many people, were on this staff? 2?
I don't know. There was more than 2. There were like 4.
Okay. So I mean, like, when you've only got 4 guys, maybe they hit their wall of their creative limits.
Well, I think they were just trying to make a simple game. You've got to look at this for what it is.
Sure, I'm an expert.
Someone that wants to play a Defender type game with modern graphics and sound, bam.
Yeah, this is it. This is the game for you. No question about it.
If this is your bag, you're in. The controls are way easier than Defender. Is this as good a game as the Defender? I'm not a Defender fan. So for me, I found this easier to play. But I've played Defender on the Atari 2600. I liked it. I liked it better.
That's my favorite version of the game.
It's okay.
Yeah. I've got a sealed copy.
I think this is beautiful. I think it's a gorgeous game.
Really? What do you think is beautiful about it? Because we just talked about how generic and ugly the enemies were.
No, the enemies are lame, but the backgrounds are beautiful.
But I mean,
the ship looks cool.
So is like
the big mothership coming out looks awesome.
It's like the equivalent of like buying like a backlit poster at Spencer's. Like those are beautiful too.
Yeah.
But I mean, like they're cookie cutter.
Listen, it's not original.
Yeah.
And the plot's stupid. The written plot. They just made some stuff up.
The unspoken plot's where it's at.
And really, you could go through all the levels. The one thing I couldn't figure out is what the crystals did. Because I would ignore the crystals I beat the game. Mm-hmm. I used a code for unlimited lives. Mm-hmm. It wasn't easy, but I beat the whole game. And I would go through levels and just kill everything I could. It gets too hard after the first level. After the first, the blue level.
Right.
And it's ridiculous at the end. It's
I might have beat the whole first level. Thinking about it, I might have gone on to the second background, but I did die. I definitely didn't beat the second.
When you get to the bombed out city, it's insanity. Mm-hmm. When those missile launching trucks come out, it's crazy. It's really hard. I don't know who could beat it. If they didn't have a shield, if they had something else, or a shield like in Asteroids Deluxe. That would be great. Mm-hmm. Something else I hated. When you get hit, the screen flashes and you go down. It happens so fast you can't tell what happened.
Yeah.
Something else on later levels, especially, you will come on the screen and instantly get killed. Mm-hmm. There is no buffer. Mm-hmm. You could die instantly.
That's just thinking about it. That's another thing the Defender actually did pretty well. Is when you got hit by something in a Defender, like the action would freeze and you would see the overlap of the sprite that hit you, and then your ship would explode. Yeah. So what took you out.
In this one, it just flashes, and I know in the later levels when I'd come on the map, I'd have to look at the radar and make sure I was going the other way because you could instantly get killed. Mm-hmm. That's no good. That shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
The good thing is when you die, you retain your abilities, and when you go to the next level, you retain them.
That's a plus.
That's a good thing.
And I thought it was kind of neat how the power-ups bounced on the ground. It's better than just floating. I thought that was okay. Yeah.
I want to talk about a new site I found.
Okay.
That and in line with this.
Okay.
I'd never been here. It's amigamemo.com. It's not new. It's new to me. And it tells you what's in the box when you buy the game.
Really?
Have you been there?
No. I'm looking it up right now.
So I looked to see what was in the box for this. Right. Here, Bo, since your voice is better here, right there's what's in the box.
Okay. So it comes with a game manual, of course. It comes on 2 discs. You've got a poster. You've got an epilepsy warning. Good. Yes. Good. You've got a Mindscape International catalog. And an advert for the Miracle Piano teaching system. Do you remember the Miracle Piano teaching system?
I do.
It's one of the most valuable accessories for the Super Nintendo, that Miracle Piano, because they didn't make too many of them. And then it also came with your registration card.
I thought that was kind of neat, just that they was, and there's pictures of it too. So Go if you want to see what is in the box of this. Go over and look. And there's a lot of stuff here. It's the first time I've been here, though. I thought it was kind of neat. So one thing about this is the people that made it. We mentioned them. I think we talked to them before. Vision. They're out of New Zealand. Both.
Oh, really?
We have some listeners down there. They did, among other things, Zombie Apocalypse.
We played on Amiga.
Right. And they did Seek and Destroy, Cybernetics, like we mentioned. And on a couple of these, and I'll try to look into this, I couldn't find it. It would say, we're not paid.
Bilked out of cash.
Like right here, Woody's World for Compart. Took all the money. And then right here, originally, these guys were called ART, just A-R-T. And they were published by a place called CRL, okay? They didn't get paid for any of the games from CRL, according to this. So they got screwed. That's the worst, isn't it?
So what did you get any eBay action on Overkill?
I did. Well,
let's do reviews first.
So, hey, you want to go to these?
Yeah.
Since I'm losing it.
So this game reviewed fair to middling. Mostly in the 70 to 80 range. The highest score that you see on here, the one Amiga 61 rated at an 89. The lowest score appears to be AUI, which is, again, every week it seems like we've got a new magazine. Volume 7 from December 93 gave it a 71. So this, but I would rate it somewhere along the same lines, wouldn't you? 70. I would say probably like an 81.
It's funny, Lemon gave us a 7.3, and they gave the CD32 version a 6. But there were less reviews. Before I give a rating, you've got to, for a game like this, you have to look at it in the context of what it is. It's an arcade clone. I'm gonna guess it was a budget title of some sort. It was released on the CD32 as a combo with a game called Lunar Sea. So you got two games, two shooters. Okay. If it was released for less than say £12, was it £12, 99p or something like that? That's not a bad deal. If you paid
$30-$40,
it's not a bad game. It's a thing. It's not a bad game.
Yeah, it's not a bad game.
It's okay. We're spoiled too. And we're in a different era where you can't release a game like this. Am I wrong?
Yeah, because now people would say, well, just fire up your emulator and play Defender.
No, I mean, you could beat this game in 17 minutes. I'd like this to play through if you're some kind of god, okay? They make shooters now that go on for an hour. Long, real in-depth shooters. This isn't that kind of game.
Right.
So it's tough to judge. I'd say a C. I'd say graphics a B for sure. Gameplay though,
you're doing it, man. Yeah. For graphics, I give it a B.
I know, but this one
you're turning into everything you hate.
No.
I never want to hear you mock those guys again.
I'm just saying it's a pretty game, but it's average. That's all I'm saying. eBay. These things were everywhere, Boat. I've never looked at a game that was so widely available. In the U.S., you can get these. $17 shipped.
Really? Wow.
$47 shipped, $16 shipped. In the UK, all day long. CD32 version, $23. Belgium, France, Germany, everywhere.
So this game, wider release than first expected.
It's weird.
Yeah.
I don't know. You got me.
But you never saw this one in your Amiga years the first time around, right?
Well, 93.
You were out of the scene. It was over.
I wasn't out, but I was.
You're on your way out. You're transitioning.
I never played it.
Yeah. I did want to tell everybody that starting next week, we're going to be recording Amigos with a brand new audio mixer. The Tascam 4x4 has served us well over the past year.
That was
so.
ill-advised.
Yeah. But it's time to. I wanted to buy a mixer that had an onboard compressor, so we could do that in hardware rather than software. So we have now in our possession the Xenix Q802 USB. So this thing will be in use starting next week. So hopefully we'll sound even better. I know we'll sound better because you'll probably be feeling better. And,
there's nothing that they can do to help me.
Yeah, and the other big news is that the Tascam is going to find its way over to Amigos Studios East for the ARG crew to continue on. So it's a win-win situation, and it's all thanks to you, the Patreon supporters. So thank you so much for your kind financial contributions.
Thank you, guys.
Aaron, I want to thank everybody that is in the chat right now. Sometimes I forget to do that. So right now in the chat, watching us live, we've got Amiga Bong, Edvin Helen, John Marshall, Paul Harrington, Duncan Stiles, let's see, a whole crew of people, Marcus Hogue. So thank you everybody for joining us live in the chat. We record Amigos every Friday around 5:30, except when we don't. It's always a good time if you're not doing anything on a Friday night and you want to tune into YouTube. Make sure you click on the bell button beside the subscribe button on our channel, and you will be notified whenever we record live, and you can join the party in the chat.
What time is it over in the UK right now?
Right now it's about 5 hours past, so it's about 11:30.
Really? That late, eh?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So, Aaron, the winners of last week's Patreon Song Challenge.
I can't even remember did I know it?
I have no idea.
I don't remember what it was.
It was Super Mario Brothers.
Oh yeah, I knew that
1-1.
one. Yeah,
Okay,
that was so easy.
Well, you say that, but Eric Nelson guessed both the Jetsons and the Flintstones
Before I
had to set him right. So maybe not quite so easy. We did have some winners though.
Yeah.
Pixels at Dawn, perennial winner. What I'd like you to do is state a funky fact about each winner.
What?
Pixels at Dawn, go.
Funky fact. He's got a two-story afro.
Okay. Colin.
He's got feet that are this big.
Okay. For our audio listeners, how big is that?
That's what is that? 6 apples long.
Okay.
Like Smurfs.
Jost 80.
Jost 80. He's 80 years old. That's where he gets that number.
Okay. Chris Foltz.
Chris Foltz has got a voice just like that, like Mickey Mouse. Hi, kids! Like that.
How about Norman Davey?
Norman Davey.
Mm-hmm.
He does a little dance where he wiggles his thighs around.
Okay.
The big wiggle, they call it.
That's true.
Yeah.
Stephen Faust.
Faust, he's a composer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he does.
All right. So thank you to our winners. Congratulations.
That's what the winners get, eh?
They get a funky fact.
Wow.
And if you have a guess for this week's Patreon Song Challenge, then, and Edvin Helland also, tell me a funky fact about Edvin Helland.
Despite his name, from Detroit.
Yeah. Interesting. So if you think you know this week's Patreon song, you can email me at john@amigospodcast.com, and Aaron will tell you about a funky fact about yourself you may not even realize.
Something tells me that the emails are going to go way down.
They're gonna fly in.
This part.
They're gonna fly in for the funky facts. All right, here we go. Robert Egerton III, Simon Rose, Joseph Harrison, Kyle Letter, Rob O'Hare, Howard Nibs, Matthew Moore, Andy Craig, Sean Toll, Darren Lowe, Max Collin, 419, Parkbed, Roland Burke, Andrew Monk, Joe the Zombie, John Cook, Dan Rossleaf, Killan, Alan Kebab, Chicote Level, Lord John Marshall, Matthew Perrin, Ricky DeRocher, Creepy Dead, Bafigi, CTZ, The Slow Nora, Stefan Sorgan, Mortensen, Emma Helen, Belinda 75, Christopher Hassel, Ravi Abbott, Chris Foles, Dreamcatcher, Lauren Giroux, Graham Vebke, Brent Dowdy, Lane Denson, Adam Battersby, O'Brien's Retro and Vintage, Gary Huckasey, Brian Jones, Paul Harrington, Duncan Stiles, Alan Kebab, Anthony Jarvis, Tapes from the Crib, Josh Nan, Adam Badley, Jonas Rulo, THT, Eric Nelson, Kim Tommy Humbertstad, Daniel Bingston, Brutal Barracuda, Darren Coles, Jason Warrens, Pixels at Dawn, and Kjolbjorn Bard.
What happened? You ran out, didn't you?
I ran out of song.
I told you it was going to happen.
Yeah. So if you know what that is, boy, I'm not even sure what that was. You can email
I don't know what the hell that was.
At john@amigospodcast.com.
You need something longer than a ditty.
Well, this one was once I tell you what that was supposed to be,
yeah, you got me on that one.
Well,
I thought I knew, and then I didn't.
It started out rough, and it didn't get any better.
I thought at the end that you were broken just looking at rap. and then you were just saying the names.
Yeah,
I didn't know.
So anyway, next week, Aaron, we are going to take a look at something totally different.
Okay.
This is a hex-based, complex strategy, hex-based, low graphics,
X-based?
historically accurate war simulation. This is, I think it's called Frontline 1914 to 1918.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, it is History Line 1914 to 1918.
So it's a World War One.
This is a World War One strategy title.
Outstanding.
So how many of those you played in your life?
Well, I played Wings.
That's a pretty. It's almost the same thing. There's a lot of hex-based combat in Wings.
I find the First World War very fascinating, and it's an era that has been forgotten by a lot of people. So we're gonna bring it back.
I don't believe it. Paul Harrington guessed.
He got that right.
I would not have guessed it.
Man, here's a funky fact about Paul Harrington. He's some sort of savant.
All right, guys. We will see you next Friday. Have a wonderful week. Don't forget to play your Amiga. Until next time, adios.